Hi, New Life family. My name is Matthew Carpenter. My wife and my family, we attend the New Life campus in Conway. And today I'm honored to have been asked to speak about a piece of the last week of Jesus' life leading up to the crucifixion. And a part of this piece was his daily routine. And often you might wonder, if you had 1 week to live here on earth, or if you were Jesus and you had 1 week, just 1 week on this earth, what would you do with your time? And so if we picked up in Luke 21 or Matthew 21, we're going to read from Luke 21, verse 37 through 38. It said, now during the day he was teaching in the temple, but at evening he would go out and spend the night on the mount that is called Mount Olives. And all the people would get up early in the morning to come to him in the temple to listen to him. So if you follow Jesus there, his routine on his last week leading up to the crucifixion wasn't much different than the rest of his time here on earth. You see, Jesus valued his relationship with the Father, that if you read in John 5 and John 12, Jesus would say, I only do what I see my Father doing, and I'm only going to say what I've heard him command me to say. And it was that relationship that was so special to him that he kept that as the most sacred part to his life, that even in the last week of his life, he was regularly found getting away from everybody. You would think he came there to save people, but he had to go find his time with the Father. And one of the questions that I think I would ask today is, if God is our daily bread for today, why are we still trying to live on last week's breakfast, or last week's meditation time that we had, or maybe last week's sermon that we listened to, instead of our daily communion with the Father as the most important? I'm going to share a quick story from one of the darkest times in my life. It was several years ago. I was separated from my wife and I was trying to save our marriage. And I felt impressed in my heart that the Father was asking me to get up every morning at 6 a.m. and to spend time with him, to reading his word, to praying, to listening, doing those things. First morning, I was up at 6 a.m. This was important. I was trying to save my marriage. I wanted to listen to the Father. Next morning, I got up at 6:05, still excited. Next morning, 6:10. Next morning, about 6:20, kind of halfway. 6:30 was the next morning, grabbed my Bible, still kind of sleepy-eyed. And about 2 weeks later, it was about 7 o'clock in the morning. And I got woke up with a conversation in my heart that I felt like Father was having with me. And I felt like he asked me a question. And his question was, Matthew, if your wife asked you to be at her house every morning at 6 a.m. to save the marriage, what would you do? And I laughed and I said, man, I'd be there at 5:50 a.m. And he said, so you'll do that for her, but you won't do that for me. And I remembered that for the longest time. And it actually took me a long time before I honored his heart in that. But now you'll find me up at 6 a.m. It's important to me for that daily bread. And so this is going to be a very short Devo. Because I want you to go have your quiet time, and I want you to consider, what does it look like for me to have my daily bread with the Father every day? If it was that important to Jesus that he heard and only did what the Father said to him, how important is that to us in our daily life? So we're going to hop off this, and I would like for you to go spend some quiet time just listening, praying, even reading the word, but I want you to ask 3 questions and just listen and pray. These are the 3 questions that I got for you today. 1, is there anything I'm doing in my life right now that God has not asked me to do? Number 2, is there anything I'm believing about myself or something that I believe about myself that has been said to me that God has not said about me? And number 3, what does God want to say to me today? Go have your quiet time. Do what the Father says. Enjoy your relationship with the Father today.